Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Hey man, I'm doing great today. Stoked to be hanging out with you.
Appreciate it. And for those who haven't heard about you or listened to your podcast, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I have a podcast called the Create Your Own Life Show where I interview world-class performers, newsmakers, and people that are really just genuinely doing big things. And I also have a company called Command Your Brand where we, for about 6 years now, have been the PR firm for the podcast space.
Nice. And how was your journey to get to that point? I know you've gone through a little bit of trials and tribulations, we'll say.
Yeah, like for me, I my original goal in life was to be a college professor, and I ended up actually getting my master's in ancient history, which is not a very profitable skill. You can't do a ton with that, but you feel really smart, let me tell you. So I ended up actually teaching at a high school right after I got out of grad school, and I did that for a couple of years. I was not prepared. I didn't have a teaching degree because in private school you don't need one. And in 2012, my mom ended up having a really bad stroke, and it made me look at a lot of what I was doing and realizing that I want to be miserable like this for the next 40 years. So I ended up going through a bunch of different things because I didn't really know what entrepreneurship was. The first was network marketing. Then I did life insurance. I sold products on Amazon. None of these businesses were very profitable at all in the slightest. And in fact, they went the other way and they were really good at making debt. And in 2014, I started a podcast called Rock Your Life. It was horrible. And I quit after about 90 days. In 2015, I started Create Your Own Life, took off. We had 10,000 listens in our first month. And people started asking us for help. And that's where our company Command Your Brand came from in 2016.
Awesome. All right. Network marketing. I smiled a little bit when you mentioned that answer because I feel like that drop shipping, selling on Amazon, all those things that you did was what social media maybe kind of revels in at this day and age. And it's like something to
Oh,
get
yeah.
quick money and it's very profitable. It's super easy. It's impossible to go wrong. But you're mentioning it's not very profitable. And explain a little bit why their overall stigma is that it's super easy and the kind of some of the trials and tribulations that come along with stuff like network marketing, affiliate marketing, and job shipping. I know they're three different industries.
Yeah, super different. So I guess we'll take them one at a time here. And I have a lot of friends in these industries. So sorry guys, but at the same time, like with network marketing, the thing that's really tough is for a lot of these companies, you sell a product and you recruit other people to also sell that product. But the problem is when everybody signs up, they have one of these starter boxes, right? Like of starting products or whatever it may be. And for most people, it ends up being way more profitable just recruit a bunch of people and hope they stick around. And that's a really tough thing to do because at the same time, there isn't really an end product. You only keep making money by recruiting more people. And as well, the really tough thing is you end up like playing life coach for people because if they're not doing well, like you have to keep them engaged in the business, keep them going. And it was a great boot camp, like to learn how to run a meeting, how to talk to people on the phone, whatever it may be. But it's just hard because it's not focused enough on like end sales, like sales to consumer. Rather, it's focused on bringing other people in. So that's what I found really difficult in marketing. And thing that was tough is I found it really affected my social interaction because you're always like looking for what somebody's unhappy about so you can sell them your thing. And it became just really weird for me. So that was my network marketing. It's life insurance. I was good at, man. I enjoyed it. It does have benefits if you're selling people the right type of insurance, which is whole life versus term. Whole life insurance, like the agent makes a whole lot more money. So most agents try to sell that, but it's actually term life insurance that benefits the person purchasing it more. So that was just a really tough environment to make long-term money in. And at the same time, those conversations about you're going to die, so you should buy this, they're not fun to have every day, man. It's not enjoyable. Buy my thing because you're going to die and you don't want something to happen to
Right.
your family. And then to look at the drop shipping thing, I actually think that's a really good model, frankly. I just made a lot of huge mistakes that at that point in my career, I didn't have enough money to make it go right. I made this mistake where we had 250 products we had purchased from China. We had private labeled them. And one of the strategies you do when you're going to sell a product on Amazon is you sell it for $1 to people specifically to get reviews, to get sales volume and things like that. But when you actually create a promo code on Amazon, the thing it does by default is actually put that promo code on your product listing. You have to uncheck the box to not have it do that. And I left that
Oh,
on my product listing. So I lost all of my inventory in 20 minutes. And that was like the end of the business. And I just wasn't capitalized well enough to recover from that. But I think, frankly, it's a great system if you understand, number one, you've got to be able to pay for thousands of dollars of product because it's going to be a while before you're profitable. And if you brand it well, there is a huge opportunity to actually use Amazon to build your own brand and sell products. But I think there's this misunderstanding about the amount of capital you have to have up front.
Yeah, I totally agree, and it's unfortunate that an issue like that made you pretty much everybody was like, "Oh, it's a great steal, $1," and then they bought everything that you had. But
It was the same address too, man. Like this one building, and I'll never forget it. This one building in Maryland bought everything. I'm like, oh, they found me.
Oh yeah, they probably just ended up doing it the right way and made a lot of money off of you. But
Yeah.
there's just learning experiences in the market when you're trading, for example. It's the best teacher is the market. When you put your real money in and you lose it, that's how you learn. And eventually you either come back in or you don't. But it sounds like Josh doing something that I've thought about but not really done. I had an episode earlier with Admir who talked a little bit about how to scale and how to find products that are good in order to use Amazon to scale and use the Amazon FBA to your earlier point. But when you're talking about network marketing, affiliate marketing, and just marketing in general, a lot of it is cliche. A lot of it is try to find pain points in selling, like where somebody has a need or create that need for them, create that emotion, and then find that your product helps them. Some of that is a little bit like hard pill to swallow because you don't really want to focus in on somebody's failures or somebody's pain points too much, even though your product might help them. So how do you balance that piece versus your true belief that your passion and your product or your service will actually help them?
I think part of it is the thing that people do wrong right off the bat, and that's either targeting or finding your audience. Because if you're looking at the right audience, then the investment should be fine for them. And the right audience is people that maybe have a certain size business, maybe they have a certain number of employees, maybe they have a certain revenue number, and you're not just the only thing they're counting on to solve their problem. You are a part of the solution. So I think, to me, if you really have down who you're helping and how you're helping them, I really don't see a problem on marketing on pain points if you can solve those pain points. If you can't solve those pain points, then, you're going to have a lot more problems than marketing that's either working or not working. So I think if you can solve pain points, you have people you're helping targeted correctly. Like, I don't really see any reason wrong with marketing that way because you can solve those things for people. Do you get what I'm saying? I think there's too many people that are like, they lie about the solution.
Right.
And if you're lying about the solution, like, you're not going to have a business that lasts very long anyway. Frankly, you don't really have a business. So I think it comes down to your solution should actually help somebody, and they should be for a particular type of person. There's too many people that are like, my business or product is for everyone. And the problem is your business or product is for no one. Then you have to really target down who it is, how you help them. Revenue numbers are really important as well because they have to be able to afford you and be able to include you in their budget.
No, 100% agreed. And you perfectly segued into one of the biggest marketing cliches of all times. You have to be like the number one or a very trusted authority in your niche, in that subgroup of people that you're targeting. And it's talked about all the time in any type of podcast, YouTube clip, book, that you have to be an authority in your niche. But I don't think a lot of people truly really know how to define that niche. And maybe that's why they cast that wide net and say my product is for everybody and try to fit their product and sell it, and it doesn't really work. How do you actually niche down? What kind of questions do you have to ask yourself to find that target demographic?
And I will say, like, in sales conversations I have with other people, like, if we can't niche down enough, then I'm not gonna sign them as a client because I want to make sure that they're niched down enough that I can actually help them. And some people have a barrier to being able to see past that. Like, you have to be able to understand, in order to go big, you have to start small. And one of the things that I like to do is I will look at other people in that niche and see who they serve. And I will take a look at how that aligns with my offering. And I'll see if there's some gaps in between there of things that I do better that I can pound more in my marketing. I think that's one thing that's really important. In terms of targeting those people as well, there's a few things you should be looking at. What is there? So here's an example. Like, a lot of our clients are like a CEO and founder. We don't really work well with somebody that's the marketing person or somebody that is a chief technology officer or something like that because they don't have the brand story. So for us, it really has to be somebody that has the brand story because they really started the brand. So that's one part of it. Another part about it is looking at revenue numbers. What is their annual revenue? And also looking at employee numbers, because if somebody's going to hire us to come in and do PR, to me, it's important that they're also have somebody on their team that does marketing, or I'm not going to be able to help them as much.
Mhm.
So it's really important to us that if they don't have a marketing department, they at least have a person whose only job is to be responsible for marketing. So that's also important. Then we also take a look at, okay, what are their likes? What are their dislikes? Who are their opinion leaders? What things have they tried and worked? What things have they tried and doesn't work? What does their decision making look like? There's so many different things you can go into in this, but you really need to understand your buyer, because you're going to understand what type of media you being an opinion leader on is even going to matter to them, right? Because I think often we've had people come to us who are like, I want to be on, and you've probably heard this, everybody wants to be on Joe Rogan. I'm a big fan of the Joe Rogan podcast, but I'll tell you right now, for most people, getting on that show is not going to help you become a niche opinion leader. So you need to take a look at who are the opinion leaders within your niche. Do you work with accountants? Do you work with some other type of business offering, whatever it may be? But you have to really niche down in that. And then you'll find as you start to get critical mass, you can help other people outside of your niche. But if you don't start small to begin with, like it's just there's no point to it.
And there's a few follow-ups that I have. We'll
Yeah.
get into critical mass after, but the first thing is like niching down itself to be that authority. So it sounds like what you need to do is find a topic, right? And then find out where there's gaps based on other providers, other services that currently exist, and see where your expertise can help them out with. So are you asking more questions about what topic do I like, then where can I serve, where do my customers lie, type more demographic questions, or is it really focused in on the solution itself, and then the where and the what and the how will all get figured out later when you're trying to niche down?
So it's interesting because I feel like it's not the same process every time. You know what I mean? Because you may have a product and you're like, okay, cool. How can I position this product, right? Like, how can I make this product work well for a certain group? Because it probably is their solution. They just don't know it. So you have to figure out how to make it work for them. So you can position a product to be the solution. Or something that's really great is if you're already in an area, let's say you are a Google AdWords consultant and there's lots of people that do it. It's a very crowded space. Heck, I would go out and find some people that are within that niche and survey them and say, what is needed and wanted by you? What matters to you? What have you liked with other business providers you've worked? What have you not liked with other people you've worked with? Doing a really good survey to me is your first step, because you can understand what people need and want and actually deliver that. So that would be what I would say is target your group and survey them, because then you can actually find out. I think too often, as I said, you can do it multiple ways. You can have a product and make it fit, but too often people tend to take that product and force it in when maybe it's not right for that group. So you want to survey, find out what they need and want. And frankly, it should be an area you're already interested in, an area of expertise in. I think there's too many people that try to jump into areas they have no experience in and sell something.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big one because you need to be an expert in that. Like you have to know everything about what you're trying to, what your product is going to have, even if it may not be directly related. Anything indirectly related on the topic of discipline, for example, on this podcast. So all the different tips and tricks and things that I have to know that maybe I don't apply, but just knowing because it could apply to somebody else. Because, like I said, everybody is different when it comes to application. Getting a general consensus about a specific topic, I think, is the best way to become a trusted authority within that niche.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know about you, but I hate the phrase you only have to be one step ahead of the people you're teaching. Because
Yeah,
to me,
that's
that tells
dumb.
me you're not an expert. You know what I mean? You're just trying to figure it out as you go along. But you should have some level of expertise. And frankly, this is my big pet peeve with the coaching industry. There's too many people offering coaching that haven't done things. That's where I take a look at it and I compare a coach to a consultant. A coach is somebody that is going to tell you how you need to change what you're doing to be successful, and they haven't really been successful themselves. Whereas a consultant is somebody that has had success in an industry, and they're just going to say, okay, great. I know how to be profitable in the restaurant industry. I'm going to show you every step you need to do with your business to get you profitable in the restaurant industry. So I don't know, maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but in my opinion, I think a consultant is much more valuable than a coach.
100%, 100%. Because a coach is really more supportive, and a consultant doesn't. Like I view it as somebody who doesn't necessarily care about feelings. They're very objective, and I'm here to help the task get completed, and you to be the person to complete that task. by giving you all the tools needed, regardless of everything else that may be uplifting and stuff like that. So it's definitely counterintuitive and maybe not widely inspirational, but that's why I truly believe that discipline and putting things together is why, that's how success is built, not necessarily being extremely motivated all the time.
Yeah,
With
and
where the coaching. Go ahead.
you were talking about investing. Like that's a great example of something that you could have a really great consultant for, because I don't need somebody to tell me like how I should feel about the money I'm getting. I just want to make money. Like at the same time, if you're going to hire somebody that's a consultant in the investing world, they're going to show you how to read a trend. They're going to show you when do you invest versus when you pull your money out, versus what systems should you have shut up so you know about the new things that are coming around, so you trade in the right one. So at the same time, like that specialized knowledge is so valuable. And for real specialized knowledge, people will pay a lot for that because you're cutting their learning curve. That's a huge difference.
You're paying for the expertise that you're getting and that knowledge you can gain, for sure. So let's take a step what you were talking about, building critical mass and then being able to eventually branch out, because I think that's what really a lot of people want to do. They don't want to be confined in that little box of their niche, even if that is what is needed in order to break out of it.
Mhm.
But there's different stages of a business, right? And I've threw out numbers that are like your early gritting it outside hustle where you're making probably less than 50,000 a year. And then the next level would be like a stable side hustle slash solopreneur. You're making enough to get by on your own, but not necessarily enough to hire people, or maybe you have a few part-time contractors or virtual assistants or something. And then there's growing businesses where you have some levels of employees, and then you have an actual business that has like more than 10 employees, 7 figures annually, et cetera. And there's obviously various different levels within that, but let's just break it down within those four and talk about the levers that you need to pull to scale and automate. Because you mentioned that there's three main ones in PR, marketing, and sales,
Yep.
but they vary based on the different stages of your business or your side hustle that are currently on.
I definitely want to get into that. And I also want to bring some tactical stuff into this as well, because I know your audience is
Perfect.
really big on things that are super tactical. So I look at it as any business to see things go well, it's a 3-step process. It's public relations, marketing, and sales. If your sales aren't doing well, you take a look at your marketing. If your marketing's not converting, you take a look at your public relations, right? And it always starts with public relations, how you relate to your public and how you're known. And it's interesting because PR creates the trust, but it also creates the pieces for marketing to promote to bring in more sales. Because you could have 5,000 leads, right? But if those leads go out and check you out and there's nothing out there credible about you, or maybe there's negative things out there about you, that's not going to help you to make more sales. So it's always public relations, marketing, and sales. And the thing that everybody should be thinking about, because they don't think about it early on, is starting that public relations base. And this is super tactical and something that everyone out there listening can do, no matter what level of your business you're in. Because too often when people think about PR, they think about, I want to get in Inc., I want to get in Forbes, I want to get in all these different things. And that's great. And maybe you're in the level of your business where you've had some PR where you can get those. But those things, just stepping out of the box, are really hard to get. So I tell everyone you have to find where you are the big fish in a small pond somewhere. So what does that mean? I grew up in a small town, 5/8 of a mile in size. Nothing happens there. There is a small weekly newspaper that goes to every house in my county and the county next to it on Thursdays. Any press release I print, as long as I get to them by a Tuesday, they will print it in their paper on Thursday. They also have an online component that runs in Google News. And that means you're getting a backlink to your site, and you're also getting a notification in Google News, which other people are seeing. There's also a regional newspaper in our area that I've been in before called the Bergen Record. The first way I got on TV was I printed a press release, it ran the Bergen Record, a producer read it, called me for a television interview. So you want to take a look at what are the small ponds that you're in. It may be your university, it may be your town, it may be a group like Rotary or something like that. I know my university that I went to back in the day has a color magazine that goes to everybody that's attended it every month. So there's somewhere where you are a big fish in a small pond. So this first step is you want to make a list of all of those different things. There may be a local mailer newspaper that's actually like in some of the delis and stuff around you. Those are really easy to get in. And a lot of times people think, oh, nobody reads those things. What do they matter? But that is your first step to getting local PR. And local PR is the juice and the energy to start creating more other stuff you're doing. So that's step one, is get some of those different PR placements. And I tell people just Google, it doesn't matter when you're listening to this, because Podcasts are evergreen. So if you're listening to this in 2022 and we're recording it, great. 2023, great as well. Google the words HubSpot and how to write a press release in 2022, if it's now or in next year, whatever it may be. They have a really great article on how to write a press release. And I think a lot of times people have a misunderstanding about press releases because there's people out there that sell services. You get a press release and you get ABC and you get this, and you get that, and whatever it may be. But the purpose of a press release is to tell media about your story so that they're interested in reaching back to you to interview you or to feature you. So sure, it may be on ABC for 7 days. It's just out there for somebody to see it, know there's a story, and understand what you're doing. So once you've got that down on what a press release does, you want to understand what is newsworthy, because too often people think, okay, I'm going to write a press release and people are going to cover me. If it's not newsworthy, they're not going to cover you. Mm-hmm. So you need to figure out what is unique and special about what you're doing. Are you a veteran? Are you first generation in whatever country you live in? Are you a business that's built on somebody that travels? Whatever it may be, what is unique and newsworthy about what you're doing? And that needs to be your positioning for the press release you write. That is your first step to building your kind of base. And you should also have a page on your site called a media page. And that media page is going to feature links to all these different places that you've been. So it's just really important. Now, another thing that's just a super ninja tactic is all of these releases and media sources and things like that are going to let you have a link. Now, that link should be a page you have on your site that has a retargeting pixel at it so you can run marketing on it, because then you can actually run marketing at people that have been to your site. So these are just things you should be thinking of to start building your public relations base, then start approaching podcasts, then start approaching bigger publications and things like that. But when you have those things in place, number one, you have things to market. Number two, your marketing is more successful. And because of that, you're going to see more sales.
Yeah, and that's all like building that path, building that credibility so that people can read up on you, to your point, and then it allows your conversion rate to go up. So it sounds like in the early stages, especially when you're by yourself and you're a solopreneur, or this is still a side hustle, is build that PR, build that source of credibility from local newspapers, from local anywhere, to get yourself out there. When does the lever start to shift a little bit more into marketing more now that you have that credibility, or just converting into sales? Is that after you start gaining traction?
So you should start doing that right away once you have placements, right? Like, meaning the placements need to be out there and need to be at least a digital version. That's why I said it's important to have ones that do run in Google News. So if you go to news.google.com, you can actually search for publications and make sure the one that you're approaching is in there, because a lot of ones, it's interesting because a lot of printed paper publications are actually easy to get into now because people don't focus on them as much. But most of them have an online version. So if you go to news.google.com, you can see that they're featured there. But then what you can do is you can start marketing these pieces to your own email list. Hey, I was in blah, 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 talking about blah, 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 and I actually want to help you with that as well. So you start marketing your own email list. You start displaying these things on your social media with the right type of copy. It's not just, hey, look at me, I'm blank. There needs to be a reason for it. But you can start bringing these things into your marketing. And as I mentioned too, like, you can tie marketing right into this, is if the link that you're giving out on a lot of these different, publications you're getting that page has a retargeting pixel on it. Another thing I really like as well is there's a company called getemails.com, and they have a massive database of all these people that have opted into email lists, and they can actually opt in about 30% of your anonymous traffic to your list. So I like to have that on that page as well. So you can tie marketing right into that. So you should be marketing right away as soon as pieces are live.
Nice. And especially with all the technology now, like, marketing really can be automated with the newsletters, with, like you say, the retargeting of the pixels of any type of conversion clicks, any campaigns, even in social media, you can just have automated responses and stuff like that. So I think marketing has become a lot easier in this day and age than it has been in prior generations, which is something that I guess we have social media and the technology age to give credit to.
No, I definitely think so. It's become a lot easier, but at the thing I want people to understand, and I know your audience will get this because they're really about getting results and things like that, but I think too often because it's easier, people get lazier with it. Just because it's easier, you should still be smart and tactical with the things you're doing. Don't just post a link. Don't just make a transcript of an interview and say it's a blog post. Like, you need to add context. You need to make it well written, things like that. So don't get lazy with your marketing just because it's easier. Because yes, it's a lot easier, but because of that, it's flooded. So be better because it's easier.
Yep, that's exactly true. There's so many quote unquote experts of how to do things. It's just getting ahead and actually doing it. And that's where it just comes on getting better and learning, and then just continuing to do that slow grind of information gathering. And then when it comes to application, then it becomes easier and easier. And then you start doing it faster. But that's what a lot of people don't really, I guess, to do. But people in this podcast really enjoy those tasks. And I'll definitely have the HubSpot link that you mentioned, because that's something that I've heard about. I just haven't really looked at HubSpot's articles recently. They have a lot of informational tools like that.
Yeah, I don't use their products, but their blog is solid, man. Like, they have
Yeah.
some really good stuff there. And the thing that's great about their articles is they update them every year. Like that, I think when I first started talking about their how to write a press release article, it was like how to write a press release in 2017. And they just update it every year because things change and things you need to know change.
Nice. Yeah, that's really important, keeping current. And speaking of that, like you had mentioned, like posting information or posting that you have either been featured on this new article or using that marketing to increase engagement and stuff like that. It needs to come about something that is upcoming, some type of new context, or something that is not just pretty much bragging, saying, hey, I got featured here. What is coming up for you? I've heard some rumors, but I'd like for you to share.
Yeah, we have a book coming out in June, actually. We actually just moved the release date because I know with the whole COVID world, the printing industry is seeing a big issue. It was originally supposed to come out June 7th, but it's coming out June 21st. It's called Unremarkable to Extraordinary. And I've been lucky enough to interview almost 1,000 incredible people. And I've seen that we're all born unremarkable. It's the things that we do that make us extraordinary. So I've interviewed people like the former CIA director, a four-time Indy 500 champion, and I've taken a look at the things that they do on a daily basis and the way that they carry themselves. So I've distilled that down into something to really help people find their own version of extraordinary, because it is different for every single one of us. And they can actually get that over at getextraordinarybook.com.
I'll definitely have the links in the show notes for people. But it's awesome to really compile all those information and all those experiences that you've had with thousands of interviews, like you talked about. Everybody has a different take on it, but I'm sure there'll be a very common theme throughout how they became extraordinary in their fields.
Yeah, no, there's some of them look at adversity, man. Some of them look at the simplicity of journaling every day and taking a look at their thoughts. There's different ways you can get there. And there's also different versions of what's extraordinary for you.
For sure. And one question I like to ask before we get into the rest of the ways people can find you and connect, but if people, as they exit their car or get finished with their errands or pretty much get done with this podcast and go on with their lives, they forget and don't really apply one thing. But if you can just give one thing for the audience, one tactical tip to improve discipline in anything. I mean, this conversation has really been about branding and marketing, really. But if you have your go-to tip, what would you say?
Improving discipline, I would say it's your morning routine, man, because how you start your day is so vital to having success in the rest of your day. And I know everybody's a little bit different, but the thing that's worked for me is working out first thing, then taking a cold shower and not really going through any emails or anything like that until 10 a.m. So to me, your morning routine is vital to how the rest of your day goes. So if you can discipline yourself to set yourself up for success by eating right, by working out, by getting things running the right way, and by also not letting that social media traffic in and that email traffic in and whatever it may be, you're going to have a much more successful day because you're going to be set up to win.
Yep, totally agreed, except for the fact, like morning routine, I agree, except I do not like working out in the morning. I don't have the strength for it.
Tell you what, man, I've always been like lifting for power has always been my thing. And I don't have the same strength in the morning that I do after 1 in the afternoon. But at the same time, I know mentally I'm going to do a lot better if I do it first thing.
Yeah. And that's like the trade-off. Like when you work out in the morning, you don't even have to have coffee. It feels like you're just wired. But I look at it and I'm like, I'd rather have the strength because I like lifting heavier.
I understand.
Man, Jeremy, I really appreciate this conversation. For those people who need to find you and where your podcast is or where your Instagram is, please share some of those things so that they can connect and follow your journey some more.
Yeah, once again, they can get the book over at getextraordinarybook.com. The release day is June 21st, but they can go grab their pre-order copy now and they'll get it on release day. They want to find out anything about me or about the podcast, it's over at jeremyryanslate.com, or the business side is over at commandyourbrand.com.
Awesome. I really appreciate that, Jeremy. And thanks for the conversation, man.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, brother.
Thank you for listening to another episode here on YouTube. For more videos like this, please like and subscribe.